So hello, I'm Hannah from Workabee Yoga, and today I've put together a practice for you that you can do if you're a complete beginner. So you won't need any equipment, so you don't need anything fancy like yoga blocks or straps or any of the other equipment you might have heard about. You just need a yoga mat, and even if you don't have a yoga mat, you can use an old towel as a substitute. So when you're ready, just rolling out that mat or that towel, we'll get started. So finding yourself in a comfortable seated position, that could be with your legs crossed, you can have them stretched out in front, or you may even want to come into a kneeling position. So finding a position that feels like pretty comfortable for you. And I'd like you to inhale, see if you can just grow a little bit taller through the spine. So getting a nice straight spine, perhaps engaging your core slightly. Take a couple of rolls of the shoulders, closing down the eyes. And take a big deep breath in through your nose. And then let it all out with a big sigh out through the mouth. Another couple of these in through the nose. And out through the mouth. So if you can use the exhale to really let go. Bring that fingertips to the shoulders, just starting to take a couple of shoulder rolls. So just starting to work through. With yoga, we like to start with a little bit of a warm up, start to get our body moving gently. Reversing direction if you've not already. Just starting to get into these shoulders. You can make the movement as big or small that feels good for you. Perhaps start small and get a little bit bigger. Oh, and release. Inhaling the arms up. You're going to exhale over to the left hand side. See if you can feel a lovely side stretch through the body. And inhaling back up to center. Exhale across to the opposite side. So feel a stretch in the left hand side of the body now. Going to keep going with this. Inhaling up, exhaling over. Feeling a really lovely juicy stretch. See if you can really start to press the opposite hip down towards the floor. They want to kind of, your knee might be coming up or trying to go across to the opposite side. See if you can really focus on pushing it down towards the earth, keeping the seat, the bum really firmly planted on the ground. Another couple of these. And making this one your last one. We'll inhale up to center, and this time we're going to twist from the middle of our back, twisting over towards the left hand side, bringing the opposite hand to the knee. Inhaling up, back up to center, exhaling across to the opposite side. Inhale up, exhale over, one more time on each side. Inhale up, exhale over. Inhale up, exhale over. Brilliant. Coming back to center. I'm going to roll forward and find ourselves in an all fours position. So I'm looking for you to have your wrists underneath your shoulders, your knees just underneath your hips. So taking a little time just to get yourself set up. Can you find yourself in a really solid base, a really nice stable position? And with the hands, spread the fingertips really nice and wide. It's pressing the whole of the hand into the earth. So it's like you're slightly gripping the mat. And then a little micro bend in the elbows. So you don't want to be locking them out. So if you can have a tiny, tiny bend there, just to keep the muscles nice and active. Tucking your tummy in slightly towards your spine. Just pausing here in this all fours position. Your toes are untucked and the tops of the feet can be pressing down into the earth. And then when you're ready, you're going to press away into the hands, round the shoulders. Tuck the tummy in and bring your bum, so tuck your bum under, your pelvis underneath you, as you create this angry cat pose or cat pose in yoga. Holding here for a couple of breaths, really pressing away with the shoulders, feeling the shoulder blades part, belly towards spine, pelvis tucked under. And then on your next inhale, you're going to tilt the pelvis up Bring the belly towards the earth, bring the shoulder blades together, and perhaps bring your head just a face towards the top of the mat. As you come in to find your cow pose, pausing here just for a few breaths, noticing how it feels, keeping that micro bend in the elbow, pressing evenly through the hands. See if you can breathe really evenly in and out through the nose. Taking a couple of deep breaths here. The next time that you exhale, I want you to come back into your angry cat pose. And then inhale to come through to find that cow pose. So tilting that pelvis up, belly towards the mat, shoulder blades coming together, and head looking gently through. Working now with your breath, so you can exhale to come into your cat pose and inhale into your cow. Really lovely way to warm up the spine, this pose. And these poses are often put together, so our cat-cows. A couple more of these, just really feeling that warmth being generated through the spine. And then coming back to an all-fours position. From here, I'm going to start circling the hips. So just gently moving the hips round and around, rocking them from side to side. It can feel a little bit funky, it can feel a little bit weird, this one, reversing direction. But we're just starting to warm up through our hip joints. Bringing the bum slightly back. And then pausing back in your all-fours position. I'd like you to sink your bum back to your heels, so keeping the knees are still hip distance apart. And then gently lowering yourself down towards your mat. And you might find that your head doesn't necessarily go down, you might be more up here, but working towards it. This is coming into our child's pose. So looking to bring the forehead towards the floor. If you wanted to, you could bring a book or a blanket or something like that, just to bring the floor up to you if you're struggling to build it up. And then bringing the hands round, you're going to keep the palms facing towards the sky as you allow the backs of the arms, backs of the hands just to face on the floor. This is your child's pose, and this is a pose in yoga that you can come back to at any time. So it's here for when you need it, and it's a really great pose for giving you a little bit of a back stretch, but also for calming the body down. So to come back to your breath. So I want you to focus just on gently breathing in and out through the nose. And take one more breath here. And then on your next inhale, I'm going to gently roll yourself up, really taking your time. And coming into a kneeling position, so bringing the bum up, hands coming to the hips. Bringing the right foot out in front and creating a right angle with that knee. So knee is just above the ankle. And then we're going to shift the hips forwards. We're starting to feel a stretch down the front of the left leg. So this is our low lunge position. You can stay here with the hands on the hips, or you can bring the arms up if you'd like to add another layer. So it's totally optional for what you want to do with your arms. In yoga, there's often different options. Often the teacher will provide you with different options or different variations of poses so that you pick the one that feels good for your body. Coming back to a lovely deep even breath. See if you can breathe into the depths of your belly here. Bringing the hands down on your next exhale. And then stepping the foot back to your kneeling position. We'll swap across to the opposite side. So bring the left foot out in front, bringing those hips towards the front, getting that lovely stretch now down the front of the right thigh. And then option to stay here with the hands on the hips. And if you're working with your stability, then perhaps staying here today. Or if you'd like that extra challenge, you can inhale the hands up to the sky and just see if you can just broaden off the shoulders. They tend to want to go up towards the ears. See if you could just allow the shoulders to relax. And you can create, the hands don't have to be super close together. You can bring them out a little bit wider to create a little bit more space for the shoulders. Gently breathing here, pressing through the whole of the front foot. And really pressing down to the floor with your right knee and the top of the right foot to the shin, just to help you with a little bit of stability. Bringing the hands down on your next exhale, and then bringing the front foot back. Beautiful. From here, I'm going to tuck the toes under, coming into a little kind of toe squat position, but keeping the fingertips on the earth. And keeping those hands about perhaps 5 or 6 inches out in front of you. You're going to gently hinge yourself forward, coming into a forward fold. So here, keeping your knees really bent, so if you can keep your abdominals, your tummy muscles as close as possible to those thighs. And if that means that the knees are really, really bent, don't worry about it. From here, just really starting to press through your feet, particularly your heels, to get a little bit of engagement. Nice generous bend. And see if you can nod and shake your head here. So nod, yes, shake, no. See if you can release any tension in the neck and shoulders. So often we have tension in this area. This is a lovely way of just relaxing, releasing. You can even grab opposite elbows. So this is ragdoll. And here you can just help kind of relax the neck and shoulders a little bit more. Taking a big, deep breath in through the nose. Taking a sigh out through the mouth. One more of those, big, deep breath in through the nose. And a big sigh out through the mouth. When you're ready, releasing the hands off if you grab those elbows. And then I'd like you to gently bring the hands to the hips. From here, I'd like you to tuck the tummy muscles in. You're going to press into your heels and super duper 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 slowly, you're going to start rolling up. So imagine that you're like a zombie and that you're rolling up starting from the very base of the spine and rolling yourself all the way to the top of the mat with the head, neck and shoulders coming up last. Rolling the shoulders down the back. And we're going to find our mountain pose. You're at somewhere on your mat, your towel, and you're going to bring your feet so they are hip distance apart. See if you can get a lovely little bend with the knees. That will help feeling nice and stable in this pose. You're going to rock those shoulders back. Allow the palms to face the front. And then really press into the feet as you raise up through the spine. So imagine there's a puppet string going up through the spine, slightly tucking in your abdominals. So you're in your mountain pose. This is a lovely, strong pose for connecting with the floor, connecting with earth, connecting with the present nature, present moment. So it's often used as the start of our standing poses. And it's one that we come back to quite often in class. Perhaps closing down the eyes here if that's comfortable for you. Pausing for a moment here, just in that lovely, strong, stable, even mountain pose. Taking a couple of breaths. And you're going to step now, so bring the hands to the hips and step the right foot back, kicking out the heel, bending the front knee. So the feet can be a bit wider, so hip distance apart, or the front foot can, the heel of the front foot can be lined up with the arch of your foot. So depending on how tight your hips are, if you've got tight hips like many of us do, bringing the foot out a little bit wider, so a bit more hip distance apart, can be really helpful for this pose. And you can tilt the hips towards the front-ish corner of the mat, doesn't matter if it's not exact. And then twist from the torso, bring the hands out to the side, coming out at shoulder height. We're in our warrior two pose, keeping a generous bend in that front knee. You can choose how far apart your legs are. So if you've got anything going on with the lower back, or perhaps really tight hamstrings, then making this pose a little bit shorter will take the pressure off the lower back. If you want the extra challenge, you can make it super long. That will really start getting those muscles working. And you're going to press through the whole of the front foot, outer edge of the back foot. And then perhaps look over those front fingertips. Probably already feeling this in your shoulders, so just pausing for a moment here. And then bringing the hands back to the hips. We're going to step the back foot to meet the front. And I'd like you to inhale your arms up to the sky. And then we're going to exhale over to find a little forward fold. So hinging ourselves forward, coming back into that position with a lovely bend in those legs. Feet are still hip distance apart. And just allowing yourself to come into a gentle forward fold here. Taking a couple of breaths. And then I'd like you to inhale to a halfway lift. So finding a lovely flat back position. You can do that by really engaging the abdominals and really imagining that your crown of the head is pointing forwards. Pausing here for a moment or two more, bringing the hands back to the hips and bringing yourself upright. Perfect. We're now going to do the same thing on the opposite side. So this time stepping the left foot back and then keeping that bend in the right knee. That's it. Lovely. From here, imagining again what's happening with the feet. Do you need to adjust where they are? Do you want to move them a bit further forward, a bit further back, wider, closer together? See what feels good for your legs, what feels good for your body. Once you've got a position that you're comfortable with the legs, thinking about the hips pointing just towards roughly the top of the mat. You're going to twist the spine around so the torso is facing towards the long edge of the mat, and then bring the hands up. Option to look over those right fingertips. So it's really coming into this lovely warrior pose. Warrior 2, great pose for energizing the body, a bit of a full body workout as you press into the whole of the front foot, and particularly think about grounding through the outer edge of the back foot, so pressing away into the outer edge of the back foot. Beautiful. When we say the word grounding, all it means is really pressing into the floor, normally with your feet. Holding here for one more breath, and then exhaling the hands back down to the hips. Bring the back foot to meet the front. We'll inhale the hands up, and then we're going to exhale over, find that lovely dive down, keeping the generous bend to the knees as we come into our forward fold. From here, bringing those hands out a little bit further in front, maybe 5 or 6 inches, bending the knees, coming down into our little squat. And then coming back onto our bum, we'll gently roll ourselves down onto the floor and bring our feet so that they are hip distance apart. Heels coming in to quite close towards your bum. Spreading the fingertips nice and wide, you're going to press them down on the floor below. Again, pressing into the forearms. And when you're ready, I'd like you to press through the heels, so really engaging with the feet and the floor, as you start to tilt your pelvis up. So you may end up about here, but otherwise see if you can shift using your bum muscles to bring the lower back off the floor, finding your bridge pose. Holding here, we'll be here for a couple of breaths. You're already pressing into your forearms to get yourself a little bit of extra height, grounding through those heels, engaging the bum muscles. And then when you're ready, you're going to super slowly roll down, starting from the very top of the back, and super slowly rolling yourself back to the floor. Pausing for a moment here, just allowing your back to settle against the earth. And then we're going to finish with a little bit of a very short relaxation, which is how we finish most classes. So there's a couple of options for this. You can either bring your feet so they're about mat distance apart and allow the knees to rest in gently towards each other in what's called constructive rest pose. Or alternatively, you can come into Shavasana or corpse pose. So this is basically when your body is lying like a corpse on the floor. And then if you're in this pose or in either pose, you're looking to have the palms facing upwards. And just allow the legs just to soften, perhaps the feet to rest out in whichever way, that you're not controlling it, you're relaxing, releasing. And here I'd like you to take a big deep breath in through the nose and a big sigh out through the mouth. Another deep breath in through the nose and a big sigh out through the mouth. From here, just imagining that you're exhaling out any tension from the body. So another deep breath in Exhale, release. One more of those deep breaths in. And then starting to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Perhaps taking a full body stretch here. You're going to bring one knee after the other into your chest. Give yourself a little rock from side to side on the mat. A little roll through the spine, perhaps a little spinal massage. And then when you're ready, roll yourself onto your favourite side, just pausing for a moment. And then using the hands to gently push yourself up to find a comfortable seated position. And we'll close our practice by inhaling the hands up towards the sky, bringing the fingertips together. Coming into little prayer hands at the top. Exhaling the hands down to the chest. And you're just going to bow the heads towards the hands. Just closing your practice. So I'd like to thank you very much for practicing with me. I hope you enjoyed this practice, and I hope that it gave you a good little introduction into yoga and you're feeling good in your body and perhaps in your mind. If you'd like to practice with me, then there's a few different options. Check out the link in the description below for more details.